Now, so I'm going to install the grid. So these are the products that you can install. Okay. So on the development system, you don't require any of this. You just need only the studio grid you require. I mean the service grid you require. Okay. So on the production machines, you require only these things: AMX runtime and AMX administrator. Okay. Okay. So now, so now the product is installed. So it is asking now if you want to create, administrator domain. I mean, if you want to create, if you want to configure the administrator server, TIBCO host and all, you will be using the configuration tool. Okay, so this option you will use, so which is launch configuration tool. Okay, so I'm going to launch that. Okay, so you have to specify some location for this. So I'm going to specify as node 1. Okay, so these are the options you have. Okay, so these are the options you have. So if your system is empty, I mean, you not install any other products. Okay, if you not install any other products, you can go with express installation. Okay, you can go with this express installation. So when you go with this express installation, so it will take the port number 8080. Okay, so if you have any other products already installed, so don't go for this express installation. So you create it manually. Okay, now so if you're maintaining, okay, if you're maintaining high available systems. Okay, if you're maintaining the high availability for your AMX administrator, you will use this option, like in a fault tolerant. Okay, so you want to add fault tolerant. Like in the case of site failover, you need this fault tolerant feature. So if you want to have site replication or for the fault tolerant concept, you will be using this option. So, but if you are using this option, you must have another system. You should have two systems to work with this. Okay, we cannot have fault tolerant servers on the same system. Okay, so one more system you should have. So then you can have two servers in fault tolerant mode. Okay, so if you want to, this AMX comes with an in-memory database. Okay, AMX comes with this in-memory database, so which is Hibernate. So if for development machines or for the on testing machines, the Hibernate database is enough for us. But on the production machine, you have to use Oracle or IBM DB2 or some kind of databases you have to use. So if you are using databases, okay, if you are using databases, you have to configure this option. Okay, you have to use the third-party driver. You have to use. So when you use this one, it asks you to specify your database driver information. Okay, so then you configure your database driver. Then you can go ahead with creating your administrator domain. Now, in some cases, they will install host on one system. Okay, so you'll be having host on one system, the administrator server on different systems. So in that case, you will simply create host instance on one system, and the administration will create another system, and from that you will connect to your host. Okay, you'll be connecting to your TIBCO host. So we have only one system. I'm going to use in-memory database. So I'm not going to make any other selections here. I will use this option, the AMX admin server. Okay, so it will be same like even if you're installing DB2, even if you're installing BPM, same steps you will be following. Okay, but only thing is the BPM requires explicit database. But even from the version 3.1, okay, from 3.1 of BPM, so it also has one feature where you can use one, it has one default database which is Postgres. You can use Postgres, so you don't have to use Oracle or SQL Server so and so. Okay, so the same steps you will use even for installing AMX BPM also. Okay, I'll select AMX admin server and make sure that this is running, EMS is running. Okay. You want to go ahead with SSL configuration, you can use this. Okay. Just give your, yesterday I have told you, so enterprise is the root for your runtime. So specify your enterprise name. You can create Windows shortcut and you can register as Windows service also. Okay. So as I told you, every enterprise will be having at least you will have one system environment and you will be having one or more development environments. And each development environment will have one or more development nodes. So you can configure your development environment. Okay. So if you're having administrator on different system and the actual nodes on the different system, you don't require to create development environment on your admin server. Okay, so different options are there, so whichever you want you can go for. So these are the port numbers. I'm not going to use the default one, so I will instead I will use just I'll specify 18120. Okay, next. Okay, so it requires the admin server requires notification server. So make sure that EMS is running. Okay, so anything you can select from. So since I didn't configure any driver, so I must use only the in-process database only. Okay, so which is Hibernate, or HSQL DB. Okay, next. So this is the username password for your admin. So the default is root and password is T. Okay, these are the usernames and passwords. Okay, and this is username and password. Okay, next. Okay, next. So nothing to select here. So this is for internal, web services based authentication. So for the credential server, so these are the usernames and passwords. Okay, for monitoring database. So generally, for each logging service, monitoring service, you will be configuring different databases. Okay, payload service. Okay, I'm going to select all of them. Now files configure. So in the meantime, I will create one application for deployment. So this is the composite that we have. So I want to deploy this composite. Okay, I want to deploy this composite. So in order to do that, you have to create a DAA file. Okay, you have to create a DAA file. So you will create the DAA file for the composite. So right click on the composite and then select create DAA. Okay, right click on the composite and select create DAA. And then, so wherever you want to store it, you store it. So generally your DAA files will be stored into deployment artifacts. Okay, store it. Okay, so select next. And finished. So there you can see the DAA file is created. Okay. Now, so if you want to deploy it, as I told you yesterday, so you have three ways of deployment. So one from Business Studio using deployment server, and second one by uploading DAA file into AMX administrator, and the third one uh, using scripting option. Okay. So these are the three options you have. So we'll see all three of them. Okay. So it's configured. Okay, everything is successfully completed. So I'm going to close this. So I'll exit from this configuration utility. Now later on, if you want to work, if you want to, so work with that, so you have to use this one. So you'll be going here, TCT 14, and start the configuration tool. Okay, so you can see it will show you like this. And then, so do the rest of the steps. Okay, so this is the configuration tool using which you will configure your administrator domain, administrator server, and nodes, hosts, and site replication servers. Okay. Now, now currently this administrator domain is running. Okay, or AMX administrator is running. But how exactly will stop it and you will start it? If you want to start it, okay, if you want to start it, so usually starting and stopping of your, entire runtime. Okay, starting and stopping of the nodes, host, administrator server. So will be taken care by TIBCO host. So what TIBCO host is going to do is it will start the system environment and dev environment. So in that you will be having the system node and dev node. So the nodes will be started. So your administrator server will be running on system node. Since system node is started, the administrator server also will be started. So if you want to start and stop your entire runtime, so which is the managing runtime, so which is administrator server and the the business logic execution component, so which is the development node, all you have to do is you have to start the TIBCO host. Okay, so if you see this shortcut, it will point to the TIBCO host. Okay, it will be pointing to the TIBCO host, and this is how the administrator runtime is represented. So you can see here, node 1, data, TIBCO host. So data, nodes. So you can see you have system node and your dev node, and this you cannot start them separately. Okay, so unless using TIBCO host, you won't be starting them separately. Okay, so you'll be starting them via TIBCO host. Okay, so when you start TIBCO host, so that your nodes will be automatically started. You stop the TIBCO host, so generally that it will automatically shut down the nodes. Okay. Now I'm going to deploy this. So from here, so I'm going to connect to my, I'm going to connect to that administrator server. So I'll right click the deployment server, new server. So you have to select the runtime as administrator server. So select the server and name it. Okay, AMX server. So you have to specify your server location, specify that. Username is root and password is T. Okay, so you have to specify, so what's your environment? Okay, so our environment is not this one. Okay, so refresh it. Okay, so select the node. Okay, so save your password and test your connection. Okay, so connection is fine. So click on finish. So connect your server. Okay, connect your server. And then so select deploy module. Okay, select deploy module. So asking you to specify your DAF file. So just now I have created the specify that. Workspace, deployment artifact, select your DAF. That's what I don't know. What is this? Even I am disconnected. I'm logged out as presenter. They logged me out as a presenter. I don't know what happened at their side. What the hell, man? Second login. Okay, guys, we'll see tomorrow. Okay.
Reference. Hello.
Okay, so we'll deploy it once again tomorrow. Okay. So okay, Harsha and Sudhakar, so we'll meet tomorrow. Good night for now.